in cornbread.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Progressive Queens. I am joined by my panelists Talisha and Mickey. We're missing Kat the princess, so we're gonna just go ahead and step forward. Ladies, wave hello to the camera.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. We have a full show, so I'm going to get right to it and just get into the supposed American Rescue Act got passed this week, and people are excited about it. And I'm just like, you're 600 short of 2,000. What am I missing something? Am I?
No,
There's a lot of good in it.
it is.
I'll give it that. There's a lot of good in it. It's going to help a lot of families, a lot of kids, but the negatives also have to be brought up. Supposedly going to lift 50% of children out of poverty.
Absolutely.
And what about the other 50%?
Exactly.
I mean, it's great to lift 50% out of poverty, but the rest are left behind.
Right.
I just now, a few hours ago, saw a news story that your $1,400 can be garnished by debt collectors.
Hmm.
Unemployment cut down to from 4 to 300, and it can be taxed as income.
Mm.
I mean, the list is endless.
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead,
correct me if
Felicia.
I'm wrong, but I always thought the unemployment was taxed already. Like I know my sons are collecting, and it seemed like they were always getting tax drawn. So, how is it per state, and now maybe it's across the board?
I don't know.
Mm.
I never thought. Well, maybe because I live in Indiana, I never thought that unemployment was taxed.
Well, at least in DC, they are, and they give them the option to take it out per check, or if, I guess at the end of the year, you just pay whatever. But I always advise them to do per check because God only knows your predicament at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm like, why are y'all patting yourself on the back? Yes, it helps. And I don't want to be one of these people, well, something's better than nothing. No, you promised $2,000.
Right.
What in the world made you decrease it to 14? I want somebody from the Democratic Party to explain that part to me.
And the crazy thing is they were battling themselves. The Republicans had already, you know, timed out of the whole conversation. They already said they weren't voting for it, forget about it. So literally it was Democrats against Democrats trying to
Yeah.
decide how much more we can squeeze away from trying to help the American people and still kind of look like we're doing something. I would have shut Joe Manchin down with a quickness. Kristen Sinema, we can't stand her anymore. I don't know if she ever was real or if she money changed her, whatever it was. They literally Democrats were battling Democrats as opposed to doing what they say they're here for, and that was to help the American people. It's a rescue plan, not a do as little as you can plan.
That's
And
what I
the
feel like
problem,
they called it.
the problem with the people who say it's better than nothing. We've been saying that for 40 years.
Right.
That's why we're in the predicament we're in. The lesser of two evils, better than nothing. How about we have something that's good, not just
Exactly.
better than nothing? Excuse me.
Or something that actually benefits people.
Right.
Because if you think about it, let's just say you get the whole $1,400, but your rent is what, 950? Now
Right.
my math is terrible, but that doesn't leave much.
No.
If you're talking about car payments and utilities and food banks are running low, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I just felt like I was either on the slow train or I was just seriously missing something because they're all congratulating themselves like this is the greatest thing ever. And I'm like, wait a minute, what is it that I'm missing? Am I missing something? What is it? And I
They're,
just couldn't wrap my head
they're,
around it.
they're usual gaslighting. It's
Hmm.
their usual gaslighting. Look at what we're doing for you. And we're supposed to be grateful. And unfortunately, too many people are. Even though you talked about rent, people are months behind on their rent.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, the
So
one
what's
good
what?
thing about the child tax credit, I think starting July, they're basically going to back pay for all these months for the children. So, like a family of four could be getting like a $7,000 check. I think that's amazing. Will that put a dent in rent if they haven't paid for a year? Probably not. But at least they can have food on the table. They can have gas in their cars to get where they need to go, and it helps. So, I'm with you guys. It's not enough. It's nowhere near enough, but I'm glad that the people that need it will get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That there is some help, although I'm like, okay, y'all need to stop patting yourself on the back because we could have did so much more. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the Fight for 15 drama that has we know we had our 8 senators that decided to vote against it. But what really was troublesome to me is that all 8 of them were like, oh, I'm for 15, especially the senator from Delaware. Who,
Copper, caper, I think.
no, the other one.
Oh, Coons.
Yeah, him. He said, oh, I'm for a $15 minimum wage. And the reporter asked the question, well, why'd you vote for it? Well, I didn't like what Bernie had in it. Are you
Right.
serious? You that petty? You're
Look,
that petty?
Kamala ran in the primaries. Her
Yeah.
main goal that she preached was $15 minimum. She was
Right.
going to do it. That was one of her on top of her list. Why didn't she override the parliamentarian?
Because Joe wouldn't let her.
Biden Biden ran on $15 minimum
Yeah,
wage.
you did too.
Why didn't he tell Harris to override the parliamentarian? None of them wanted to give it to us. None of
Exactly.
them.
I'd rather him would have said that.
Right.
Just say, I don't think people need $15 an hour. Instead of that BS, oh, I'm for it, but I voted against it because Bernie had too many extras in there. What
Ridiculous.
type of extras are you talking about? Like,
Right.
if you're for something, now, of course, the bill is what, 5,000, 6,000 pages. So I don't know all the details of it. But in theory, if you're for something, why not vote for it? Who cares whose name is attached to it? I just did not get that. And hopefully, people can primary some of these people because they just got to go. Oh my goodness. I'm like, wait a minute. Did he just say what I thought he said? I wish I had the clip because I almost threw my shoe at my television. I mean, I was literally like, no, let me not do that.
Well, a lot of the things I'm hearing is that it's the donors. The donors don't really have an issue with the little $1,400 checks that's going out because what's going to happen? We, as the people, will go out and re-put that money back into the economy by buying things we need, right? Well, that $15 an hour, that's just going to come out of their checks. It's going to come out of rich people's pocket finally. And that's why that was just a straight up no. They never meant it. They never wanted it. You've got a few progressives in the Senate, very few, and then you've got a couple more, a handful more in the Congress. That's all we have representing the people. Everybody else is on the take. The Democrats and Republicans are different sides of the same coin. They don't want that because their donors don't want that.
And you got to think about it from the donor's point. If I'm a donor, I want the same political system to keep. Because if you're just paying, let's say, $100,000 you give to a candidate, but you're getting back billions,
Exactly.
I mean, why should we stop this? This is great. I'm spending little money and I'm getting all this great return.
Right. The return on investment is psychotic. And so, but I don't know. And I always tell you guys this, I don't know. I would never be able to sleep comfortably at night knowing that I'm good, my family's good, everybody's cared for. And there's some kid down the street or, across town that's starving. Their bellies are empty or they're sick and can't get the medical attention they need. So I don't know how much money it would take. I don't think there is a dollar amount to sell my soul. And I just don't know what has happened to the people that are supposed to be fighting for us. Were they never great? Were they always these trifling people? Or did the money just corrupt them along the way?
Well, money just reveals who you already are. If you were trifling from the beginning, just because you have money, that doesn't stop you from being trifling. You're just trifling, and now you got money to back it up.
Right.
That's all it
Look
is.
at
You have more money.
I'll never work again. I'm a senior. I'm disabled. I can make do on my Social Security. I live comfortably. I have everything I need and a little left over. And yet I'm out there fighting for the $15 an hour. I'm out
Exactly.
there fighting for equal rights for people of color and the LGBTQ community. I'm out there fighting for women's right to choose. None of those affect me.
Right.
Why do I get myself so worked up over those and so angry? Anytime you help any one part of society, you're helping the entire country.
Exactly.
Why can't people think that way? I don't have to fight for any of these things. They don't affect me at all. And
Because
yet, go ahead.
the American people, I mean, we're just selfish. If you think about the way that we think, not all of us, but a majority of us is like, as long as I'm taken care of,
Right.
I don't care about that person. Why don't they just work harder? I mean, think about the arguments against the $15 minimum wage. Oh, well, that's too much. They just flip burgers. It's like we
Right.
get joy off of diminishing someone else's work when
Right.
all work is work. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And that's what it is. We're so selfish in our thought process and how we care about each other because we could literally eradicate homelessness in this country if we felt like it.
Exactly.
We
But
could.
that's that capitalistic system, you guys. We have been basically beat over the head, like Mickey said, for like the last 40 years of just the American dream. And if you work hard, you'll get to the top. And, if you're not where you're supposed to be, it's because you did something wrong. And it's really, there's a system that is built on keeping people at the bottom so the smaller few can stay at the top. And the simple fact is, until folks wake up and realize we're all being sold a bill of goods. And because, like, I know this. And if I walk off the job tomorrow, I probably will be homeless. And, so that keeps me to be that little cog in the factory, still doing my job because I'm so scared of the repercussions that'll happen to my family. They have us all over a barrel. But if we all do it, like how that wonderful union is trying to, form down in Alabama against Amazon, if we all did it, if we all walked away and we all said, no, we're not paying another dime in taxes, we're not coming to work, and everything just stops to a halt, then people will start to recognize, okay, let's actually start taking care of the lesser than, because the lesser than keeps our country moving.
You know what? I agree with that 1,000%, but it won't happen
It won't.
because, like I said, the average American is so selfish. I mean, just think about the largest work stoppage that took place in India. Every person in India did not protest. They didn't stop.
Right.
Everybody didn't stop, but they had a large enough segment of the population that did stop to make it effective. We don't need every single American to stop working because we don't want our nurses to just stop working.
Right.
Let's just be honest.
See,
We don't need
I
them to stop working. We need them to keep working. We need our, unfortunately, we need our police. We need some. We do. We do. We need them.
I
In
think we
my
don't
opinion,
need
we
police.
need them. But if we had just, I don't know, 1% of the American population say, you know what, I'm not going. No, I'm gonna not work on this day, and let's just see how far you get. I think that would make a significant difference.
and I think it's not just selfishness. I think a lot of people are afraid. They
Exactly.
have maybe they have a family and they're afraid if they don't show up to work, they'll get fired and they'll lose their homes, they'll be homeless, they'll be on the streets, they can't feed their kids. They've got Our government has people so terrified of the consequences of standing up for what's right that a lot of people won't do it because they're afraid.
Exactly. Look at all the crap that Amazon's doing down in Alabama to stop the union. They literally were handing out flyers at the traffic lights. So Amazon colluded with the city to speed up the traffic lights so they could
Yeah,
advertise to people trying to get them to join the union. Like, this mess is sick, and it's in our government. It's in everyday life. Like, the deck is made to be stacked against us. So it almost does feel hopeless, like you have nowhere to turn. And you maybe get a lukewarm, you know, attaboy from the White House, but they're not mentioning it out loud. They're not calling Bezos by name and saying, listen, these people need a union and you need to stop trying to union bust or we're going to blow you apart because you're monopolistic enough. we don't have the backing we need.
Or even calling them to pay taxes.
Oh my
I
God.
should not be paying more taxes than Amazon.
Exactly.
Really?
Exactly.
Really? Seriously? You serious with
Ridiculous.
Well, the corporate tax rate is so ridiculously low to start
Absolutely.
with.
Absolutely.
That's even forgetting their loopholes.
Mm-hmm.
that? Yeah,
You
and
know,
Something else.
one year I paid more in taxes than Blue Cross Blue Shield. Matter of fact, Blue Cross Blue Shield paid zero taxes and they got a $5,000 rebate. Somebody explain that to me.
yeah, I can't. There's no
Same thing happened. Same thing happened with Amazon. They got something like a $1 million refund. They
Jesus.
paid no taxes and got $1 million refund, and I think they made something like 11 billion.
Mm.
yeah,
It's
and
just
then
sick.
the threat is, oh, they'll go overseas. Okay,
Bye.
goodbye. See
Which
you.
they won't.
Okay,
Which
they
they
won't
won't.
because most of their customers are in America.
Exactly. They
Like,
might outsource some of the services, but best believe they still need to make sure they have those Amazon warehouses here so that they can get all the stuff out to the customers.
but
Yeah,
that is so used. That is used in the and I in the so-called two-party system. Oh, they'll just leave. Okay,
Right.
here's some packing boxes. Okay, see you when it's okay.
well, they were talking about that with Texas,
Mm.
with the oil fields. We can't tax them anymore because they're going to leave. Where are they going to go when the oil is under the ground in Texas? They're going to go under.
Nowhere.
Well,
They make no sense at all.
Mm.
it felt illogical, and it's like people don't stop to think. Okay, in your situation, well, what happens when the oil runs out? Because it's going to run out. It's not going to just keep reproducing and reproducing. It's going to run out. Where are they
Right.
going to go? It's like, wait a minute, you're. It's. I don't know. I just sometimes I wish I was a large corporation so I could manipulate the system to actually work for people,
Exactly.
because this is just so ridiculous that we live in a system where large companies that make literally billions upon billions of dollars, they pay no taxes. And
Mm.
then you have my favorite part, senators saying, oh, we're for a minimum wage, but we voted against it because I didn't like all the extras.
Mm.
What do you mean extras? Are you serious? Are you absolutely? We just have to clean house, go old school with it, take some bleach, some ammonia, and just bomb them out. I don't know what we need to absolutely clean house.
Well, at least some senators actually tried to, you know, put together some kind of bull crap. Kristen Sinema said it was sexist for you to look at her body language as she was shouting down the minimum wage
But
for the
did she
people that
say?
need it.
Yeah, but did she say why she voted
Of
against?
course she didn't. She was too busy playing the sexist card. So folks would like start over trying to correct on that. She never gave a good answer because she said she was for it. They of course there's a tweet for everything. So there's a tweet from her from like 2018 saying, "Let's do it. I'm for the minimum wage going up to $15 an hour," which we all know that's the low end. It's supposed to be at least $22 to $25 an hour now. So I don't know. They never meant it. They never meant it. And then this is stuff like this that makes it come out and shows it was more than those 8 senators. I really think those other 6 that glommed on were probably just trying to give cover to Manchin and Sinema and the White House, of course, because Coons
Yeah.
doesn't do anything without Biden's say so. So they never wanted
Yeah,
it.
then depth theory was brought up last week that somehow they said, okay, you vote against it. You vote against it, and then the rest of us. And I'm like, really? It's that deep?
It is.
They have done they've been doing things like that for decades. You know,
Exactly.
if if you don't want to be called out on it, get 4 or 5 or 6 other people to go along with you. Everybody else or most of them agree we don't want it. Okay, you guys take the fall this time because you're pretty safe in your states,
Right.
and the rest of us will vote for it
So we can
so
tell
that our
people, oh, we vote. Look, we voted against it. I mean, we voted for it. Oh
Right, exactly.
my gosh.
And they never meant it, which I don't really get because I want to say, if not the poorest, one of the poorest states in all of our 50 is West Virginia.
West Virginia, Kentucky, and Indiana.
They
What?
should be doing a recall on Joe Manchin as we're speaking right now. Like you literally got the Republican governor telling Joe Manchin that he's lowballing, and nobody's like trying to recall him right now. Nobody's like trying to get him put out of office because he's not representing his people for what they sent him there to do. I don't know. I don't know if people just feel powerless. I don't know if I mean it's not that hard. They're trying to recall Newsom in California,
And it
and
was,
that was because he was enforcing a mask mandate and
and it
closing
was,
businesses.
yep, and that looks like it may work.
It's going to work. But he's going to get the seat back because there's more liberals than there are red right wing idiots.
Yeah,
So he's going to get the seat back.
he's not liberal though. Can we agree on that?
He's not liberal, but he's California liberal. We'll put it that way. Like
Yeah, I'm like,
got Nancy there too, and she calls herself a progressive.
yeah, because she's got that poster in her basement for all. So that
Mm.
girl, bye. It's just I'm like, wait a minute, people, wait a minute. You can, but you can't. Well, and another thing that makes me so angry is when, as a progressive, I don't know if you guys hear this, but I hear it all the time. You want too much. Yes, I want too much. Yes, I want all college debt canceled. Yes.
Right.
Here's the argument against that. Well,
So
you signed the agreement. No. First of all, college should be free.
Boom.
This should be free in general. And if you want to go to grad school or get a master's, okay, that part, that's on you to do. But
Right.
general 4-year university should be absolutely free.
it used
Absolutely.
to be. It used to be free.
Mm.
State colleges were free.
Right.
What
So
year
it's not
was
like we
it?
can't do it.
Because
You know,
I
and what you should what when you said we want too much, you have to add on what they always say. We want everything for free.
yeah, that
Exactly.
was that
As
was
if
my
we
Like
don't pay
yeah,
taxes.
excuse me, but how about we want what we pay in taxes to come back to the people, not big corporations?
Exactly. That's exactly
yeah, but
right.
I get in arguments with people all the time. Oh, you just want everything for free. No, I never said free. The word free never came out of my mouth. How about taking the tax dollars I already paid
Hmm.
and using them to actually benefit me? And in conjunction with that, make some of these large corporations pay taxes. That would
Yep.
be great. That would
Right.
just be absolutely great. That's not free. But I've stopped actually arguing with people because it makes my head hurt. It literally
Exactly.
makes my head hurt. I'm like, no, I can't anymore.
Well, we've been brainwashed into thinking that if we're not working all the time, then we're somehow siphoning off of the government's dime and they like to call it the dole, and that's not true. Like we paid all this money into a system. When the world basically breaks down, that system's supposed to turn around and take care of us. We are the only industrialized nation that only sent out what? Two, now maybe three stimulus payments, whereas everybody else was getting monthly payments.
Monthly,
Why have we not started revolting in the streets?
because we take that whole attitude. Well, something's better than nothing. No, you might as well give me nothing because that $14 is
It's
just gonna
gone.
walk around the street. No, it won't even make it out the door because if
Yeah,
you pay your rent, that's it. I'm like, are you? I just get so frustrated, and it's hard for me to say in words because the frustration is there when you just argue with people, and it's like you're voting for politicians that don't serve your interests, and you know that they won't, but you still vote for them because you don't want this other guy. Well, you know what? Sometimes, and I'll say it, and I don't care what I get in the comments. Sometimes we need the other guy to win to wake us up and say, oh, that's just me.
yeah, but that might be a double-edged sword
It
because
is, but
Biden is doing the bare minimum and they're acting like it is the
like he's
moon
walking on water.
because Trump was so bad that the least thing is seems like the best thing. I mean, I'll never forget the day on Twitter I saw people coming for Reverend Barber. Reverend William Barber only wants to help people. He runs the Poor People's Campaign. He literally has brought in poor whites, poor blacks, poor Latinos, any kind of race, gender, affiliation, brought them in under the umbrella of let's take care of the least of these. And they were attacking him. The K-Hive was attacking him for saying she could vote for the $15 minimum. What is she doing? And I'm just like, we're so brainwashed and they idolize these people so much. These people are human. They're human. So that means they're prone to error. They're not superstars. They're not, above reproach. We need to be able to critique them and push them in the direction we want them to go. But because Trump was so crappy, Joe can really do nothing for the next 4 years.
See, I got one argument against that though. He's doing the same thing as Trump. If you
oh my God, dropping bombs.
Did concentration camps,
mm-hmm.
which is what
on a toxic waste site.
Yep, on a toxic
that
waste
site. It's been condemned to build residential buildings there because it's so toxic.
Exactly.
But it's okay for the kids to live there.
And I'm like, it's a concentration camp. Oh no, that's too harsh. Okay, can those children be reunited with their parents?
Can they just walk out the front door?
Can they walk out the front door? Can they go outside and play? Can they get schooling? Are you letting their parents in to see them? Like you said, are they walking away? Can they just leave? No. Well, I call that a concentration camp. That's exactly what I'm going to call it. But nobody says anything because he's not Trump.
Sickening.
I am so tired of arguing with people that if you're using Trump as your standard to judge all politicians,
what kind of standard do you have?
If you're using him to just to judge another human being, you have set the bar so low, it's underground.
Exactly.
Anything can crawl over it. I've been telling people, don't use him as your standard. And they all are.
Mickey, but they will. They'll say every time, but we had to get him out, which I agree. We had to get him out. Absolutely, positively. But couldn't we have picked somebody better? Couldn't we have said, you know what? And I know I'm on the Bernie train, but there was a couple other ones that I might have voted for. Castro was one of them.
Castro was great. And I didn't really know how great he was because he was totally outshined by my love for Bernie. But Castro had really good policies.
Yeah, he had really good policies. Heck, I almost would have voted for Andrew Yang. Almost. He was like at the bottom. You're like, no.
I have mixed feelings about Yang. I like a lot of his ideas.
I do.
And I don't like some of his ideas.
Because he's right. Automation is killing the manufacturing industry.
But Andrew Yang is a billionaire. He advanced via automation. So I kind of give them the side eye. And even Tom Steyer had some good policies, but I give all billionaires the side eye because what did you do to get to the billionaire status? And that's what I'm looking at because you probably crushed a lot of little people to get where you are. And unless you're ready to give that back wholly and completely, like Andrew Yang never said nothing about a wealth tax. Tom Steyer did, which was amazing. But Tom got his stuff through oil. How much earth did you tear up getting those billions, buddy? Are you ready to go do a climate action plan to fix it?
I see where you're going, but I'm going to disagree just a little bit. Because just because somebody's a billionaire doesn't make them evil.
What did you do to get to that billionaire status?
But that doesn't mean, to me, in my opinion, that doesn't mean they stomped up.
All right, we've got Bezos. We've got, what's the Facebook guy? Zuckerberg. We've got the guy for Twitter. We've got Jamie Dimon. Right there, those four billionaires, anecdotal at best, smashed people to get to where they are.
They did, but I'm saying you don't have to smash people to be a billionaire.
Find me a billionaire that's not like that. Name me one. Give me one.
I'm just saying it's possible. I'm just saying it's possible to be a billionaire and not have to crush people to do it. That's all I'm saying.
Name me a billionaire that didn't do that, and I will be quiet.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you in that terms. I'm just saying it's possible to be a billionaire and not have to squash on people.
I don't think it is. I can't.
Okay, how about you became a billionaire by doing that and realize the error of your ways, and now you start to start helping people.
Then
But
you need to
what's
start
that?
giving that money back. You need to start giving that money back because you know
I
it was
can't
ill-gotten
remember his
gain.
name. Yeah, I don't remember his name, but there's one who cut his own pay by millions to increase the pay of all his employees so that they're making something like a minimum of 45,000 a year.
That's nice.
I can't remember his name, but he started a company, he became super rich, and now he's giving back.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
You're like, and then.
No, and then, no, and then, no, that's wonderful. He's a unicorn.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not possible. I mean, you did name some crappy people,
Yes.
but
Eh,
I mean,
what's the purpose of having $150 billion?
There's no need.
There are people that I used to argue with who had no concept of what a billion was.
Right.
I they would say, "Is it 2 million?"
Mm,
And my explanation would be, picture a table with $1 million on it.
mm-hmm.
You now picture 1,000 of those tables,
Jesus.
and they could not comprehend it. At what point is a billion not enough?
Exactly. You can't spend it. You can't spend it. You wouldn't be able to spend it.
but boy,
And even
I
if you
sure
wanted
like
to,
to have that problem though. Just for
Spend
like
it.
but
45 days.
but
Just give me
you
that
when you have enough money to leave your children and your grandchildren enough that they can live on the interest in luxury
Right.
and never have to worry,
Right.
isn't there a point where you stop?
And say enough is enough.
Yeah. How many hundreds of billions do you need?
Ugh.
Yeah, but like I see where you guys are going. Those are some good points. But like I said, I still think some of those Democrats were put in the race just to prevent Bernie from winning. But that's just my personal opinion.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no
Um,
doubt.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they were put in there to stop him from winning just because they were literally hurting themselves by all being in there. And
but
then
some of
old
those people,
Obama decided, let me pull everybody out. And then now all of a sudden Joe rises to the top.
some of those people though, I'm like, what? Like Cory Booker, what is you doing running?
Mm.
What are you doing running? What? Him, Klobuchar, um, what's
Well,
her
she
name from
thought she had her moment from the Kavanaugh thing, and she thought she built up a lot of political
Golden
capital.
Harris? Yeah, I gotta count her, but she became vice president. So I'm like, well, look what
Who,
she did.
Harris?
Yeah.
Was insane because she couldn't even win California.
She
So
didn't win California.
well, she
Elizabeth
was
Warren,
out before the primary, but still, her in the polling, she was like near bottom in her own state.
state, yeah, in her own state. That is, I forgot all about that. And you got to think about Pete Buttigieg, my favorite, my least favorite Hoosier. Besides, right behind the two senators, he's like third. I'm like, I purposely think I'm like, you don't get out the race when you're
Like
first.
third, or maybe he was second. He might have
He
He
been
was
was
second.
second. He was in
he was
second place,
second. Worst case
and
scenario, he was second place.
what's her name was in third?
Yeah, Klobuchar.
Was
Oh,
it
Elizabeth
Klobuchar?
Warren, I thought.
It may have
Could've
been
been.
her or
No.
Warren. Warren never got past fourth place.
Mm,
She
okay.
never got past fourth
Yeah,
place.
she was
Well,
in fifth.
Klobuchar was very low. Klobuchar was very low. I think she might have placed. I don't think it was Iowa. It was one of them places, but I don't think it was Iowa.
After the first three, Bernie was in first, Pete was in second, Biden was in fifth, Liz
Yeah,
was in fourth, and I can't remember, was it Klobuchar that was in
maybe
third?
it was Klobuchar. It might have been
Yeah, it was
Klobuchar.
her.
Because yeah, they kept talking about how she was a strong third, like totally
Yeah,
ignoring that Bernie was number one.
yeah, she was a strong candidate. And her Midwestern, I'm like, if I hear one more thing about her Midwestern, shut up.
And you know what killed me so much about that? Because Pete was horrible. He was a horrible mayor. And you could probably tell us better than anyone, Tracy. Independent media tried so hard to break through and let people know how crappy he was, and mainstream media drowned it out. The firing of the black police chief, the racial unrest all over the place that he just kept ignoring like it wasn't happening.
The fact that he said that black he listed a whole list of black people that supported his plan. And they were like, we never support. They were
And
like,
then he used the stock photo from Nigeria. Like, what are you doing? Like, Pete, I
he,
think Pete had like, maybe, did he have like 1% black support? It was like really bad.
yeah, he had 1%.
Oh,
I'm like, Trump has more black support than you. Think
oh,
about it.
exactly, exactly. So yeah,
And
Pete
and you
Buttigieg is
know what they
horrible.
were getting? If you criticized him, you were homophobic.
Exactly.
I'm
But
like,
that's that
huh?
identity politics mess.
I'm
And
like, y'all
it
got
kills me because I used to get so angry when I would hear people talk about identity politics because that's a thing. It's good to have black representation. It's good to have diversity. But if that black representation and diversity
Yeah.
is doing the same commercial bullcrap and backroom deals with corporate America, we don't want you. I prefer the white as the white dudes that wants to make sure that me and mine are eating at night. You know what I'm saying? So it really irritates me when they do that mess. Like, and I love my people. I always lead with that before I tear into my people. I love my people, but stop getting just pacified by there being a black face. What good is the black face if the black face doesn't care about you or your problems or
yeah.
whatever
What
issues
you
you
I
have?
need
can't tell you how many times
mm,
in how many threads when Harris was being considered for vice president, I would say there are at least a half a dozen other black women that are better than her, and I would name like Nina Turner. Uh, and I actually said I would even take Stacey Abrams over her.
Mm,
And
mm,
people
I
would
would not.
come, and after
uh,
after I'll take her over Harris.
Well, yes,
uh-uh. I'll
People
take
maybe.
would tell after naming half a dozen women of color, I would be called a misogynistic racist
Mm, because that's all they
because I didn't
have.
want Harris.
That's all they
Huh?
have.
well, you knew Nina was out of it when she said voting for him is like voting for a half plate of manure. She was out. I was like, tell her Nina, but she not gonna be considered.
I still do that to this day. I say that. We took the half bowl of poop.
She and they were like so angry. How dare she say, well, she didn't say he was the whole bowl.
Mm,
Well, one of the things I say to people when they give me the Biden is better than Trump, okay, I have to word this differently than I usually do. Trump's pile of manure stinks to high heaven
right.
because Biden's pile is a little smaller and it smells a little less worse. You enjoy smelling his pile of manure?
Exactly. Exactly.
But I've heard, I hear so many times, and like you, Talisha, I love my community, but sometimes I'm like, I want to just smack you upside your dumb head. Representation is important. No, it's not. And
Right.
to me, representation doesn't mean anything if you're going to not do anything with it.
Exactly.
If you're the so-called first black president, wouldn't it be good for you to have something up for the black community that would
Exactly.
eventually benefit everybody? That might be good. But no, you're going to go with this. I'm vice president of all people, which is true. That
Mm,
is an absolutely true fact. But
right.
how? I'm like, so you waited until you were the vice president to now embrace your blackness when you ran
Mm.
away from it. Okay. And
Every
now I'm
chance
supposed to
she
be.
got. Every
Yeah.
chance
And
she
I
got.
was like, I think I said this during a service that I was in. I was like, oh, so we're supposed that a white man is giving a black woman power. Okay. I'm supposed to shout about that?
Right.
I don't think so.
And it was definitely strategic. It was because they think, which sometimes it's true, that black community is going to vote for us just because I pulled this black woman on. And that's exactly what happened. And everybody said that once Joe got through the primaries, you owe us. You owe us a black person. You need to appoint us a black vice president. And it's like, for why? If that black vice president is going to be just as nonchalant as any kind of Republican light person, why are they there? And she's not black. She's biracial, who happens to have a father of Jamaican descent. So she's not even African American in the true form. And I'm sure she's gone through the issues that we've gone through. So I don't want to ever take that away from her. I'm sure as a woman, a black woman, or a woman of color, she's gone through a lot. But she probably had a lot of that privilege that she could fall back on because she is not full black. She's not full descendant of slavery. You know, is she a descendant of slavery? Was Jamaicans ever
I
enslaved?
think there were slaves on the Jamaican islands. I do
Mm,
think there are, because that's a whole discussion by itself. Is an Afro Latina
mm,
versus Afro like we are. Um,
right.
so that's a whole discussion. But yes, I do believe Jamaica did have slaves on
But
there.
she opted through her whole career to punish black people just as probably worse than white
Worse.
Worse.
people. And, so she's never been an ally to the black
But
community.
wait a minute, Alicia. Here's what I heard when I raised that same point. But they did the crime.
Mm,
Wait a minute.
mm.
Hold on. What? Oh my
There
God.
was a study that came out, and I want to say it was New York. They said black people were punished for marijuana crimes 94% more than white people doing it as well as selling it. 94%. Can you do the math on that? That's, I don't know. That's a lot. It's a lot. So they were literally walking past the white person committing the crime and arresting the black person for the same crime.
Well, Bloomberg himself admitted it when
Yeah.
he had his stop and frisk policy. Something like 80% of the people they were stopping and frisking were blacks and Hispanics.
Exactly.
But he said he never.
He actually said out loud,
Mm-hmm.
"You're not stopping enough people of color."
Mm, mm-hmm. He's a racist little prick. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when he ran for president, his whole little stunt. Don't get me started on his stunt for running for president. But when he ran and had all these black people coming out for him, I'm like, is that much money in the world, really?
He literally bought them off, my mayor included. Muriel Bowser, the mayor down in Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms, like all these black women that they
Hold on,
love
wait a
to
minute.
tout.
Did you
Yes,
say
queen.
Keisha? Not Keisha.
Oh,
Not
yes, Keisha.
Keisha.
Oh, yes, Keisha.
No.
So he basically gave fistfuls of money to them and they gladly took it. So when it came time, they had to pay the piper and they had to endorse him.
Not
Several
Keisha.
black mayors. Yes, Keisha. Oh, Keisha. hmm
Oh, no, not
So,
Keisha.
yes,
No.
yes. Rooted to the tutor, just, it was time to pay the piper. Now, did they do good things with the money he gave them? But Stacey Abrams, too. She had a little handshake deal with him.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take. We need to clone Nina. We need to clone Corey. We need to clone Michaela Wilkes. We need to clone them. We need to clone Jamal Bowman because that's the only way we're going to get the policies we need enforced because all these other people are for sale.
Yeah, and I've said that 25 billion times. We need to uplift black men like Jamal Bowman and
It's
poo poo
amazing.
black men like Barack Obama. Just be like, boy, bye. Sit
Exactly.
down.
But we got to somehow get it into our people's head that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Just because they're brown like you doesn't mean they're for you.
And
We
when you talk
wake
about
up.
the Stacey Dashes, they'll get it. Oh, well, she
Mm.
not kinfolk. Okay, now put that same thing on Obama, and you right there where we need you to be, because you're getting played.
Yeah,
And
but at least, I mean, I guess because Stacey Dash verbalized it, right? Obama said a lot of his dirt in back rooms and it got leaked to us. But for the most part, he'd get out there and say the words. He'd talk with a little slang to his voice and he'd say things. He'd talk about a Jay-Z song and try to lure us in. And just imagine if Biden had tried that. We would have been heck of offended. But because Brown Obama says it, who definitely doesn't know our plight, was raised by his white mother in a very well-to-do neighborhood, who only decided to become a social organizer late to midlife so that he could aspire to the highest office. Like it was all a plan, it was all mapped out. He was never for us. And the simple fact is because he's got a little tint to his skin and he can, quote a rap song, we loved him. Not knowing that he was shivving us in the chest. He didn't even put it in
I
the back.
beating
I
us
was suckered in. I was suckered in. I voted for
twice,
him twice. I voted for
twice.
him both times.
Me
And
too.
my theory both times was dumb. I look at it and I'm like, Tracy, you know better. You know better. Because my whole thing, second time, I was going to vote Jill Stein. I had it in my mind. I was going to do it. Got in that booth and I said, Tracy, how many times are you going to have a black president? Oh, okay. And I went right for it. Dumbest, that is the dumbest reason, audience, to vote for a person. I'm telling you now, that's the dumbest reason. But I fell into that trap because of the way that the media just is like, this is great. And they're doing it with Biden too. It's like,
Yes.
if he said that his poop didn't stink, I think MSNBC would be like, it sure doesn't stink. It doesn't stink. It smells great. This is the greatest thing ever. And look at this. So I'm like, no.
And
And
you
he
bring up Biden's lifelong history of racism,
Oh
up
my
to and
gosh.
including last year, and
Mhm.
people say, "But no, he's not racist because Obama wouldn't have picked him if he was."
Oh my gosh.
Number
That's the
one,
craziest
Obama
explanation.
had three strikes against him when you consider the conservatives in this country. Number
Hmm.
one, he was young,
Hmm.
yes.
so he needed an old vice president. Number two, he was black, so he
Hmm.
needed a white vice president. Number three, I forgot the third thing that he picked Biden for. Oh, he was supposedly running as a progressive, so he
Exactly.
picked the conservative Biden.
To kind of balance out the ticket.
Do you
Yeah,
really think he was progressive though when you look back on it?
hope and
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
That's
He
how
talked all the
what he
right stuff.
ran on.
He
He
But
talked all the
ran
right
on.
stuff.
I don't think in his heart because he never did anything.
No, he
Oh
never
no.
was.
He
Look,
never
you
meant
only
it.
I can't think. I mean, everybody's like the Affordable Care Act, which I'm going to do a video on how garbage that act is. I'm like, what did it really do? Super duper high premiums,
Hmm.
super high deductibles. You can't meet them. It doesn't cover everything. Yes, it was good that people can't be turned down for pre-existing conditions. That's the one good thing I can say
It
about the
is.
Affordable Care Act.
It is.
That's it. I can't. Everything else, I'm like, it's garbage.
It is
But
crazy.
I don't think now looking back on it, and the way that he said things, you were just like, but what is he really saying? Now that I go back and look on it, why I didn't realize it back then when it was happening, I don't know.
Because it was coded and it was in flowery language and it's the way they say it. Instead of saying, I'm going to get Medicare for all, it's going to be, I'm going to make sure everybody has medical access. And we didn't hear that buzzword access because I have access to a limousine. Can I afford it? You know what I'm
No.
saying? So he also
Exactly.
talked about, I'm going to put on my sneakers and march with the unions. He never did that. He never spoke out about unions. It was very broad and basic terms. Shoot, Biden's actually done more for unions with his
I know. That's why I was like, wait a minute.
generalized.
Biden's getting something right. What?
Mm. And Obama also talked about ending the endless wars. How long have we been in Iraq, you guys? It's been 20 something years. We've been in Iraq and we've been in Afghanistan for 17. And we're still not out of it. And now Biden has dropped bombs on Iran territory in Syria, right? So, we may be about to go to war with Iran.
Or no.
So we're in trouble.
Yeah, I'm like, because like I said last week, and I talked about this. I was trying to imagine a world where a progressive, i.e., Bernie, would have been president,
Would have been nice.
and I'm thinking, I'm like the thing with the student loan debt, Bernie wouldn't have canceled 50,000. There's no way. He just would have canceled student loan debt. Period.
The whole
The
thing,
whole thing. It's
That can be done with an executive order.
That's
right? With the
exactly what I
strike
was
of a
just about
pen.
to say. That was my point. Biden can do that. He doesn't have to go through the Senate. He doesn't have to go through Congress. He can just do it. But
Hmm.
why doesn't he do it? And I wish the media, and I don't want to insult anybody, and
Do it.
I
Insult
may
them.
have to
Do
ask
it.
for forgiveness about this later, but his press secretary, oh no. Oh no! All she can, I'm not gonna say all she can do is give me a frosty and a baconator from Wendy's, but see, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But I didn't say it, but she the one with the red hair, not me. But I'm like, what's the difference between her and the Barbie doll, which I can't think of her name. That was
Kaylee McEnany.
there's no difference. One looks like a Barbie doll and the other looks like the Wendy's logo.
Well, no,
I
there is
mean,
a difference.
that's it.
McEnany lied outright. This
Mm,
new one evades.
exactly.
She doesn't answer the question, so she doesn't
Hmm.
have to lie.
Or she gets mad when someone asks her a really good question. I'm like, yes, that's right. Ask that question.
And tells them it's inappropriate and never
Yep,
answers the question.
And I'm
yep.
like, a girl sit in. But of course, I mean, like I said, I think for a gag, I should just apply for the Biden administration because it looks like he's just hiring people that have no qualifications to do
As long
anything.
as you're black, brown, or a woman,
I
you're
know. I'm
in.
like, well, I'm black. What's your qualifications, Tracy? I am black.
Exactly.
I don't got nothing else. I don't got nothing else. That's
Well,
it.
I think you're a woman, aren't you?
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
that's true. Oh yeah, and I'm a woman.
Right?
I'm
It's
just like,
crazy. They're just they're literally, and this is why the Republicans win that messaging of identity politics, because that's the first thing out of their mouth. The second a question of substance is asked, and as opposed to actually providing an answer and being real, they'll say, well, just know that this is the first woman ever appointed to this position. Who cares?
who cares? I don't care if it was
Hey,
a
you
one.
know,
Oh,
I marched for equal rights for everybody in the 60s and 70s.
Exactly.
So I've been waiting for a woman in the top office for half a century, over half a century. But you know something? Given a choice between a woman or an old Jewish white man, I'll take the old Jewish white man.
every single time. Every
And twice
time.
on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like people. Representation does not mean what you think it means. You think it means, oh, we got our foot in the door. No, you don't have a voice unless you agree with what's being said. And if you
Exactly.
disagree, you're taking the party too radical. You're radicalizing the party. You're taking it to the left. Well, yeah, that is the point to take the party to the left. Yes, because
Exactly.
that's where America is. If you look at Medicare for all, and and $15 minimum wage, most people are for that, whether they're
Yeah,
Democrat, Republican, Socialist,
yeah.
Communist, Marxist, whatever they are, they're for that.
Right.
But
And
get
then
a
and then
politician to say it.
and then the Democrats just suck at messaging. Granted, for all its faults, this rescue bill is going to help a lot of people, right?
Yeah,
Why are they not on every news channel saying the Republicans voted against it? Why is that
exactly.
on a loop somewhere that when somebody decides they're going to run for office next year, Marco Rubio, that it's not an ad playing on repeat how he voted against it and no Republican voted
And,
for it?
and what you have to say is not just they voted against it. You have to say your representative voted for you not to get $1,400. Voted
Exactly.
for you not to get the child tax credit.
Right.
Voted for you not to get COVID help for your
But
state. They
look,
have to be specific and
Exactly.
tell the people your representatives didn't want you to get $1,400.
but they're all taking
Exactly.
credit for it. Have you seen some of those Republican tweets?
Uh,
I'm like, you voted against it. Are you serious? Are you serious?
That's exactly right.
So I just think, it's just ridiculous. Well, we've come to that part of the show, audience, where we're going to take we normally do five, but I think we're going to we'll do five. We'll do a 5-minute break and we'll come back and we're going to talk about our subject that hopefully one of them asked for me, but we'll see when we get back. See you guys later. Okay, audience, we are back from our brief break. So this is the section of the show where I normally pick a topic, but for the next 3 weeks, I'm letting my panelists pick the topic. So they're going to tell us what we're going to talk about. I think, Talisha, you wanted to start, so you go ahead.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, I don't know names, but I'm sure everybody knows this person by Uber Girl. She gets in the Uber, decides she's going to show her behind when the driver asks her to put on a mask, which is the city ordinance. She coughs on him, tells him she's got COVID. She snatches his phone from him as he's trying to record her nasty behavior. The two friends she's with are just laughing, and I think one of them coughs too. And then after she snatches his phone and pulls his mask off, she throws his phone back at him and is steadily calling him the N-word. I have huge problems with this. At the bare minimum, the service industry needs to be treated with nothing but respect because they put their lives in danger every day since we're in a national pandemic to provide services to us. So that infuriates me. What also infuriates me is this girl who is not of African-American descent, even though I don't like when anybody does it, is steadily yelling the N-word at this driver. And her little friends, instead of checking her for being disrespectful to him and them because her friends are Black, They say nothing. They laugh and kiki along. And then when she finally gets out of the car, two of the heifers that's with him, one of them pepper sprays it back into the window. So she's been banned for life from Uber. She was ignorant enough to get on a live and talk about how that's okay because she don't really do Uber anyway. She's more of a Lyft girl. Then Lyft banned her for life. She's
Oh,
trifling. I hope she gets the book thrown at her, and I hope they arrest the little friends too.
Well, then the thing is, he wasn't black.
No.
He was Asian, Middle Eastern or Asian.
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't.
And it's been said they're charging her with assault,
Good.
theft, theft of the phone, and a couple other charges. So she deserves it. Every one of these, I think it's New York City, I'm not sure, has passed a law that anybody who calls 911 based on just someone's skin color will now be fined or charged. They need to pass a law that anyone who does that, who tears your
Absolutely.
mask off, who attacks you, they need to be charged too.
Right. Right.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I got a whole bunch of questions to ask because I'm like, who told her two little friends that didn't check her? Do they not know that that's what people call black people when they're trying to use that word derogatory? Did they not know that? Where the
I feel
heck
like they didn't care. I feel like they didn't care. I felt like they were just as ignorant as she was. And
Hmm.
she had the nerve when she goes to try to explain things, is that she felt that he was targeting them because she was with two black women. Don't pull us into your mess, Heffa. This was all you. This is how you rolled. This was you being disrespectful, and you thought you had a black card because you had two little black friends and probably have a little black boyfriend that made you think it was okay, but it's not okay. It's never okay.
it's not? Well, I'm just sitting here thinking because if I heard, let me put it like this: if I hear a black person use that N word, I think, boy, they stupid and ignorant. When I hear a non-black person use that word, I'm ready to fight. I'm just
Mhm.
ready. I'm just ready to. That's my first instinct. They didn't. Do they not know the connotation of that word? What's wrong with? Is there's the
They,
what?
one of them, they were laughing.
Yeah,
One of
that's
them,
what.
one of them also coughed on him or
Mm.
pretended to. They were in on it. They
Yep.
were all
I don't
for it.
know.
And
That's
he
my
would have
point.
been well within his rights to knock the living daylights out of
And
all
I would
three
have
of
clapped
them.
for him. I'm like, get him.
And I'm not for a man putting his hands on a woman, but in this time and age, and you're telling him you have COVID-19 and you're coughing in his face, he was totally within his rights to defend himself, laid all three of them out.
Yeah, and I'd have been like, oh well, that's what
I would
happened.
have paid that. I would have put money on that man's bail. Do you hear me?
I'm just like, do they not know what that word have that the history of? Who is they? Are these young girls in their
They were
teens?
young. They were young. I'd say early 20s, maybe late
Oh, so
teens,
they're
probably
grown.
early 20s.
Okay,
Yeah, they
so they're
weren't
not living at
kids.
home.
Mm-mm. She appeared to be living somewhere by herself because she was going from room to room, just bragging about her behavior. And I don't know, maybe if they throw something stiff enough at her, she may be able to learn from the consequences of
I
her
hope the two
actions.
friends charged because I'm sitting here thinking, let some friend of mine use the N word. I don't believe in violence, but sometimes I don't act safe 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I
And
might just slip
I
back.
do recall Jesus beating the money changers out of the
Did he
church. So
know?
sometimes
He turned them tables over.
throw them tails out.
Over.
So I feel like certain desperate times, desperate
Call for
times.
desperate measures.
Mm.
Call for every time. I'm like, you know what? I don't advocate it, but sometimes
Mm.
I ain't with them 24 hours. I wish I was, but
Right,
no,
right.
I
There
And
wish.
was
what
this.
get, what gets me is these people who refuse to wear a mask. They say, I have the right to choose to
Mm.
not wear a mask. And yet they take away a person's right to choose to wear one by
Or to
ripping it
Exactly.
off.
service them. Or to
Exactly.
service them. Because as a business, if I have a brick and mortar store and you come in without a mask, you're going right back out the door.
That's exactly
Period.
right.
I
Exactly.
want to see one of these people who go in the stores without a mask and fight with the clerks I want to see one of them go in without a shirt or without shoes.
Exactly.
No
Exactly.
different.
That reminds me, I have to send you guys a Bath and Body Works clip. Did I send that to you guys? Or the
Oh, I saw that one where they got in a fight. Yeah, I saw
Woo!
that. That was
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Oh my goodness, it was pretty
Right,
wonderful.
they were down on the floor.
Yes, yes. But I think that's the height of privilege, the height of just selfishness. Because, like you said, Mickey, your choice to be free from a mask does not overrule my choice to want to wear the mask to be safe.
Yep.
And you have the nerve to come around people trying to do the right thing and enforce your will upon them. And you think that there's no consequences?
I
It's
hope whatever
ridiculous.
job she has, she gets fired from it.
I think she's a social media influencer, honey. For some reason, negative equals more eyeballs, so she probably
See, that's
quadrupled her
what I said. We should
followers.
just wear a KKK mask and maybe more people will watch our podcast.
Well, it works for Candace. It works for Candace Owens.
No, oh, I know what I want to talk about. Oh, I just thought about it. Yeah, Stacey Dash's apology. Girl, sit down. Sit down somewhere. Sit down. You still not invited to the barbecue. You
Ever.
still can't come. No, no, no. You're not invited. No.
So,
I
Mickey, you heard about this, right?
Which one? Stacey Dash?
Stacey
Dash.
Dash.
Yeah,
Yeah, and what I say to every one of them, for 4 years, you supported this man through every lie, through every crime, through every atrocity. All of a sudden, when he's no longer in power, all these right wingers they're growing a conscience. Isn't
Right.
it
They've
amazing?
seen the light.
No way in hell. I'm sorry, but too little, too late. If you were behind him for 4 years because he was in power, now that he doesn't have the power, you suddenly are sorry. No, you need to spend a few years making good what fixing the harm he's done. Then I might believe you.
Exactly.
mine
Exactly.
because I don't.
Mm-mm.
No, not at all.
And then what makes me more angry is that she uses that trope. I was an angry Black conservative woman. What were you angry about? If you were a conservative, the Republicans own the House, the Senate, and the White House, and now the Supreme Court. What were you angry about? What made you angry? Who were you angry at? Were Black people doing something to you? Because until she decided to switch hats and put on that MAGA hat, Black people held her in a very high esteem. I know I'm a Clueless fan, so I loved her in Clueless.
That's the only
So
thing she's ever done, though.
I know she's had a few things. She was in Mo Money. She had a few TV shows. So she had a rise to fame, and Black people actually held her in a high regard until she decided she was going to hitch her star to Trump's wagon. And of
Oh,
course,
we didn't.
like everyone else, they get burned up
Oh
because
no,
Trump's
she
the
went.
only one that rises.
She went for that wacky sauce way before Trump because I remember when she said, "Oh, we should get rid of Black History Month and we don't need the BET awards." Okay, well, give yours back then.
Boom.
Give back all of that salary you made from posing from King's Magazine. Why don't you do that then?
Exactly.
Girl, you not invited. She is not invited to the barbecue. She sit down and be quiet. You not invited. You not invited.
So if you had to let her or Omarosa into the barbecue, who gets to come back? You have to pick one.
Mickey, you answer first. You answer first.
I'd let Omarosa back because she tried to take Trump down. So she gets to come in, but she don't get to eat. You just get to stand there.
Ooh. Dang, that's a hard one. Okay. Dang. Let me go any minute. Okay, I'm gonna say Omarosa only be yeah, I'll go with your reason. She tried to take Trump down, but she knew who he was.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Everybody
He's
knew what
too
Trump was.
Yep.
Everybody did. I mean, yeah, I think Trump's a racist, but he was always the grifter. Trump, listen, if I was a rich person enriching Trump, he would love me more than life itself. So his love for money outweighs any of his hate, but never get it twisted that Trump didn't mean any good for us and he wasn't for us. So all those Black people that decided to cash in their souls just so they could ride the Trump money train.
You mean like
cannot
Herschel
come
Walker
back.
and Ben Carson?
Oh, Herschel Walker makes me want
last
to.
name is me. He makes me mad to be a Carson. I'm like, get
What
some other last name.
Whatever happened to rhinestones and burlap? Oh, I'm sorry, Diamond and Self.
Rhinestones and burlap. I was
Whatever
like,
happened to them?
They got fired from Fox, never to be heard from again. So it's, it's usually how that goes down. They go a little too far, and they're like, you're out."
say the same things as their white counterparts. But
Mhm,
guess who
mhm.
gets fired first?
The black people every single time. Look at
Yeah.
Tucker. Tucker still has a job. Tucker is the king of the white supremacists, and he still has a job. He insulted my military women this week. Tucker's butt
Wow.
needs to be out on his ear, but for some reason, he keeps getting paid
Because
over and over
you
again.
know how many
Do
women
you do
don't.
you guys do you guys watch Bo of the Fifth Column?
I've seen his stuff. I've
I've
liked it.
never heard of them. Who?
Oh, I somebody turned me on to him about maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, and when they sent me the clip, I was like, the first 5 seconds, I was like, why the hell did they send this? Why did they send this to me? Because the Southern accent and my prejudices came out. But I shut my mouth and I listened, and I've
Mhm.
been addicted ever since. He addressed that, and he said he would be happy to put any one woman from each branch of the military against against Tucker on an obstacle course.
Absolutely.
Who
Who's
was
never
who is
fought
this person, Nikki,
nothing.
so I can look them up?
Oh, Bo for the fifth column.
Bo of the Fifth Column. I'll send you a link.
Thank you, because I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's a
He
good
he
guy. He's a
looks
good guy.
like he looks like you would think some southern
Looks like a good old
from
boy.
yeah, and he's very well spoken. He
Mhm,
puts things simply, easy to understand, and boy, he picks it perfectly. And
mhm.
I've been addicted ever since.
Well, Mickey, it's on you to tell us now what we're going to talk about.
Let's talk about Cuomo.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy. He's up to what now?
I
7 accusers or 6?
Oh, it's way more than six.
there's at least six, and now
Mm,
two more men have come forward in addition to Councilman Kim to testify to his bullying, his rages, his denigrating people, his yelling,
mhm.
his bullying. We've known this for years and years here. We've
Right.
we've known he's a bully. We've known he's corrupt. We know he's an elitist. We know he's racist. We know that he's a misogynist. But for years and years, he was known as a womanizer, and he used to
Mhm,
brag about being a playboy.
mm,
We've
mm,
known that.
Has
But
he
what
put
I
that
what
in
go ahead,
word, though? Well, let me show
what
you. I'm gonna shut up. Keep going.
mm.
Did an inappropriate
well, what
comment. Keep going.
what makes me angry, and this is what I said last night. All the news is talking about as far as COVID is the number of people that died. Nobody's bringing up first the nursing homes donated millions to his campaign.
Absolutely.
Then next, he pushed through a law that gives them immunity against lawsuits against COVID.
Right.
Then he said he was putting the elderly back in the nursing homes because there was no hospital beds. There's
Mm,
no hospital beds because year after year after year he cut funding to hospitals. That's why there are no
absolutely.
beds. So they need to do that first. Do the steps,
Right.
and then he sent them because of his own failings in the past. All they're doing is saying he covered up half the deaths. No, let's talk about how those deaths came about first.
Right.
And that makes me so angry that the news isn't talking about that.
Well, he was to be the next president. He was going to be a front runner
Mm,
for office.
yeah.
Ain't we
But
glad
what?
we dodged that bullet?
Right. But what surprises me and kind of, I guess, dumbfounds me is Tish James came out with a whole report about the undercounting and the forcing the older people that were sick into the nursing homes. Does that just die now? Like, the report comes out and that's it? We're done? Like, there's no prosecution, there's no, maybe further investigation. Like, I know they're now talking about impeaching him, which I think is amazing, but where's the criminal side of this? Like, crimes were committed, bribes, deaths. backroom deals. All this stuff is illegal last I checked. So where's the penalty phase?
But Trump,
Right,
that's the
right.
whole rationale. But Trump,
Oh,
are you serious?
blue MAGA.
Oh,
So I just really want to know what's going to happen next. Like I need, and I guess it's kind of hard to maybe prosecute him because the simple fact is he's the governor. How many police commissioners are in his back pocket? How many, lawyers is he friends with? Because he's a lawyer, So
how many jurors would actually?
The corruption in Albany is known as one of the worst in the country.
I heard that. I heard that.
I've
Yeah.
heard
So
that.
I don't know. Does Biden's DOJ? Are we waiting on Merrick Garland? Like, what are we doing?
I don't get it. I mean, I'm like, and the thing that makes me so mad about what he's doing or what he's getting away with in my eyes is the media fascination. All they talk about is the women, the women, the women. Their
Exactly.
story is important to get out. I don't want anybody to doubt that. I'm not one of these ones that's going to sit here and question why they're coming out. Their stories need to be heard absolutely positively. However, we need to talk about this cover up where he sends people to die in nursing homes because there's not enough room in hospitals, but he's cutting funding for that is what we need to. It's like they're baiting and switching. Okay, we're going to talk about this so you don't look at this.
Exactly.
And they're not looking at, which they know because these accusations have been out for years. It's just because he's not somebody else. It's fine.
Exactly.
All they talk about is he covered up. They're not
Mhm.
talking about how he's responsible for those deaths.
Right.
He's
Right.
That's what makes me angry.
Exactly. It's like you're responsible. You and I'm certain that he's not acting alone.
His administration definitely helped.
Yeah, his administration definitely helped. And I'm looking at, they're talking about, and Mickey, you could attest to this. I don't know, has the lieutenant governor called for an investigation yet?
I haven't heard anything from her. I've been doing some research on her because if he's gone, she's going to take his place. So
Mm.
I'm trying to learn about her because I don't know anything about her.
Okay. Because they had some Kristen Gillibrand decided to crawl out of the rock of hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm.
No, she's not my. I mean, her and Rami Manuel, both of. I mean, I just want to get a bucket and just throw up. She is such a hypocrite to me. She had sold it in the middle that the first of the week. Oh, she tried to use the fact that these women. I forget. I want to say this right. She was trying to say something about them being women, and they should hear the stories, but not no, they shouldn't question her about not wanting to investigate Cuomo because she was a woman. I think it was something like that, and I was like, "Girl, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?"
Oh, I get it. Yeah, it was like it's sexist to ask women about other women accusing someone.
Yes, that's what it
and
was.
It's like maybe it's because you're the senator of New York and this is going on in your state. Maybe this has zero to do with you being a woman.
Yeah, I was like, girl, sit down. You already got rid of one senator for nothing. Yeah, I said it. Why don't you just make it two and get rid of a governor?
Yeah, and she had the nerve to say, now's not the time to speak on this. Well, when is the time? When's a good time to speak about it?
I can with her. I'm like, if there's some that just make me want to throw up, her, Emanuel, and Schumer, and Pelosi, I'm like, ugh.
Yes. Don't forget Jim Clyburn. He's my personal favorite.
Understandable.
With the civil rights movement, does he get a minor pass from me?
Nope.
Minor.
He gets no passes. He got up and said, I know Joe. Joe will be there. Joe will do what you need to do. Not telling folks that he takes the biggest amount of donations from the healthcare industry. That's why he has a concerted effort to keep Medicare for all away from people that need it. So Jim Clyburn doesn't do anything but pat his own pockets. If I do say so myself.
and it's it's the same thing if somebody was racist 30, 40 years ago, or even 10, 20 years ago, and they've learned and they've bettered themselves, okay, they got educated.
Right.
But these people are the opposite.
Yes.
If they were for civil rights and fighting for them 10, 20, 30 years ago, and now they're throwing it out the window, there's no forgiveness for them. They
Mm-mm.
know better.
Exactly.
Especially
Exactly.
when you don't change your views. I mean, look at somebody like Cuomo, Trump, and Biden. I'll put them all three in the same bucket because none of them have changed.
No.
They're
No.
just as racist as they were years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Cuomo was famous for trying to gentrify neighborhoods.
Mm.
And he has all but said he wants to get rid of the poor and the people of color out of New York City. He
Mm.
wants it to be for his rich friends.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty much said that.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah, we
Oh,
we
but I have one more thing, you guys, before I have to go. Please tell me you heard about the high school basketball team that took a knee, and then the announcer called them effing in,
Yes.
and they got caught on a hot mic.
Yep.
But but wait for it. He blamed it on his type 1 diabetes spiking. And so when his sugar gets low or whatever, or too high, he doesn't know what he's saying. Listen, I had gestational diabetes when I was pregnant with my last kid, and I never started racist rants whenever my sugar was
is he
out of
serious?
balance.
He's gonna
I
use the disease that I have to
Have a
sit there
heart
and
attack.
is he first of all, yeah, I'm gonna go on my diabetes sucks rant. Is he out of his flipping mind?
Mm,
Yes, when your blood sugars are low, you will say things that you would normally never say. That does happen. It happened to me. I said things I never called anybody the N bomb, the C word, the B word. I never said things against other people. You ramble on and you say things that don't make sense, like the sky is purple or what's my name. You can't
mhm.
remember things. Not call, not
I,
calling
I
somebody
have
the
I
N
have a I have a problem with my kidneys. I pee constantly and I get dehydrated really fast. Really, I
Mm,
have to drink nonstop all day. I've been in the hospital for severe dehydration a couple
oh
of
wow.
times, and it's the same reaction. You get lightheaded, you get shaky, you can't think straight. And I've never gone on a racist rant or a sexist rant.
Right.
I've said stupid things, but there's a difference between stupid and hateful. And
Exactly.
what he said was hateful.
he
Absolutely.
used diabetes. How you
Hmm.
gonna use diabetes?
And I read one girl's Twitter account. She said, I have type 1 diabetes. She said, I've spoken gibberish. I didn't know where I was. I was
Yep.
dizzy. She said, I ran down the street naked. I never called anybody the N word. So,
I'm like, wait a minute, because I done some crazy stuff when my blood sugar was low. I yelled at my supervisor. I, but I've never, ever. He's got eat a candy bar. I mean, please tell me this guy got fired. Just
I'm
please.
hoping so. It just happened. I think it happened, what, yesterday, Mickey?
Yes, they
So,
said, okay, the school is no longer using the company
mm.
that the man worked for, but then later the company said they're going to investigate, which probably means he's going to.
Investigate. It's on tape.
It's on tape. What did they have to investigate? He dropped
And
it.
he actually admitted it.
And then
Yeah,
he used
I'm sure they'll
diabetes as
fire
an
him.
excuse. That's
Oh,
what struck me. I'm like, he did not use diabetes as an excuse.
I just thank God it wasn't Ambien this time. I'm so sick of people putting Ambien on blast.
I had to stop taking Ambien because I was like, nope, I'm gonna be sane. But it works for some people. I'm not knocking people to take it. I'm not knocking people to take it. So
Oh,
All
me,
medication, I don't care what the medication is, it helps some people and it hurts others.
yep, and it
exactly.
doesn't help others. So
But
Right.
Ambien, call me if you need advertisement. Okay.
you know they not gonna call us, girl. They not
But yeah,
calling.
that was unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah, he gonna use diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking you was gonna say he wanted to use his white maleness. Like I'm
Mm-mm.
not racist. I have black friends, like that
Mm.
guy that I chased off my lawn 10 years ago. I thought that's where he was going. I did not see diabetes coming out the corner. So audience, Talisha is gonna check out. Nikki's gonna stay with me, hopefully, and we're gonna hit this show to go the way out because we don't want this to be real short. So we're gonna have Talisha. She'll leave, but Talisha, next week you're supposed to name one woman activist, one woman progressive that you really admire.
I'm on it. I'll be
So
ready.
give your assignment.
Okay. Who's
Bye,
grabbing
ladies.
Tina? Who's grabbing Nina?
No, I grabbed Nina in Black History Month, so we can't use her again.
Is that a rule?
Podcast, so yes, it's a rule.
All right, ladies. Have a great
See
week.
you later, Talisha.
Bye.
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 Happy to see you.
Yeah, so he used diabetes.
Unbelievable.
Diabetes.
Did you see the clip?
I did not see the clip. Thank goodness, because if I had heard diabetes, I'd have just been like, "Fool, shut your mouth."
Did you see the clip of when it happened?
No, I have not seen it.
Oh. And this was broadcast to all high schools.
So he's on the high school radio. What did they do? Not that you can do anything to cause somebody to call you the N-word, but what were they doing? They were just playing, and he's like, "Hey,
He was the announcer at the game. He was the announcer at the game. And when they played the national anthem and the entire team kneeled, he went off. He went off. He didn't know his mic was still on. And I mean, he didn't just say one or two things. He went on with a bunch of sentences.
But didn't he realize when he first spoke that first word, it was like, "Oh, people can hear me."
No.
People.
It was lower because he must have sat back from the mic, but the mic was still on. Because it wasn't as loud as his announcement.
And he probably couldn't have been like, "Hey, dude, shut up with that stupidity."
Well, he went on a rant. It wasn't just one or two words or one sentence. It was several.
You got the Uber girl, this guy. What is wrong with America? What is really wrong? I mean, it's been like this for my entire life. It's like, I'm just like, okay.
Well, what's wrong is the only thing that's changed, because it's always been this way, the only thing that changed is Trump gave all the racists and the sexists and the anti-Semites and the Islamophobes and the homophobes and the xenophobes, he gave them all permission to come out, state their opinion, and attack all those that they're against. He gave them permission to come out from their slimy caves.
Yeah, it's just I don't want to ask. I don't like to call people stupid, but in this case, there's no other word I can. Like, first of all, what makes you think that you can just say that word? Period. Whatever race you are. Like, who sits there and says, "You know what? I'm gonna call them. I got this." They little who's, and I'm just wondering, like, for him to even say diabetes, not to say, "You know what? I shouldn't have said that. That was wrong of me to say. I'm gonna get, I don't know, therapy. I don't know if you can get therapy to not be a racist, but I'm pretty sure there is something. I'm gonna do what I need to do to not say that word anymore." Okay, maybe, but no, don't go that way. Use diabetes as the excuse. What? What do we let fly by? Because
all of these haters, just like the right wingers, they're never to blame. It's not their fault. It never is.
Yeah, it's diabetes' fault.
Yeah.
Do you know how many millions of people have diabetes, and none of us have ever, when our sugar is low, dropped an N-bomb? Sure, we'll speak gibberish, but it's not gonna make sense. You're like, what are they saying? That's a whole coherent sentence that he's putting together with a noun, a verb, a subject, a predicate. Everything's in that. That's a full sentence. That's not.
It was a full paragraph.
He went on that long?
Yeah. There were,
My God.
I'd say, at least 3 sentences, if not more.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
And this is about high school girls.
I'm like, these are little girls, not little girls.
They're girls.
Yeah, they're girls.
They're,
They're not women. They're girls.
hmm
They are hearing this over the microphone,
Yep.
over the announcement. These little. If I was a parent of one of those girls, and he said that about my daughter, hmm, he see he move. Because I
Yep.
know some parents that would have just he wouldn't have walked out of there. I know that much. He would not have walked out of there on 2 feet. They'd had to call an ambulance or something because he wouldn't have made it. Period.
It's just, it's mind-boggling that he felt, even if he didn't, even if the mic wasn't on,
He
that
felt
he there
comfortable,
with other people there in the booth, he felt comfortable saying that.
which means he's probably said that before in the booth, and nobody's ever checked him and said, "Hey, stupid, stop saying that word. It's racist."
Yep.
You don't just drop that word just
No.
randomly like
No.
that. He
It,
was in an environment where he felt comfortable enough to say, they're not going to do anything. It's because either, like I said, they themselves have said it in some kind of conversation with each other, and they were
yep.
used to him saying that. Well, that's probably what it was because who hears that word and says, "Yep, that's right, that's right, that's what they are," and
Yep.
never says anything. No, they were used to. He said that word around them before, and they didn't check him before. So he
Yep.
thought, "Oh, this is just a regular old conversation that we're having."
And you have to wonder, he works for the company that broadcasts the game, not the school. He doesn't work for the school. The school uses that station. It's a high school station. I find it hard to believe that people in that station didn't know he was like that.
I can see it depends on how large the company is. Because if they're a
Yeah.
large company, he's probably not putting on his application. I'd like to call black people the N word. He's probably not broadcasting that, and he's probably again never been reported because his colleagues are probably saying the exact same thing. So I could kind of see them not knowing in a sense. It would make sense
Yeah.
that they wouldn't know it, but they know it now.
Oh yeah.
They know it
Yes. The,
now.
the
And
the school has dropped that company, that station, and then the company itself said they will investigate. It sounds like they're going to fire him,
he should
probably.
just quit if he had any like reasonable, just like Cuomo should resign, but he won't. This guy should just be like, you know what? Forget it. And then I wonder if he has a regular job, is he going to have his regular job?
That's
Because
true.
calling high school sports is not a lucrative job. Last time
Right.
I checked, he's not on ESPN calling games.
Exactly.
So I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen to his regular job. Wonder what's going to happen
Yeah.
to that. Because
Have to look into that. I didn't dig deep with that.
because who's his employer? And
That that station.
so
That
no, somebody's gonna do some digging and find out. Oh, he's with this company. Either fire him or we're taking our money somewhere else.
yeah,
So you wonder about that. I just wonder how the girls feel. And I hate to keep calling them girls, but that's what they are.
they
How did
are.
they feel sitting there? They're taking this stand to take a knee, which should be commended, should be applauded, should be everyone should have done it. And you have to hear some racist, probably not black, I'm assuming he was not black, saying that kind of thing over the airwaves where everyone could hear him calling them that. That
Yep.
to
Not
me,
just in not just in the on that court in that high school, but all the high schools that subscribe to that station.
right. And then it's being played over social media. being shared, even if it's being shared and look at this, they still have to repeat that. They still have to repeat that in their mind, hearing him say that. That's got to be, that's got to be just, oh gosh, that has to be terrifying.
Yep.
To hear that, to have the possibility of that tape living in infamy, it's never going away. It's there
Yep.
forever. And now they have to hear this all over again and over and over and over because he
And
decided.
these are, we're talking about high school. We're talking 13, 14, 15.
Exactly. Are they going to even be okay? What's the psyche of what's going
Right.
on in their minds? It's like you. He really traumatized them. I don't like to throw around that word, but he really traumatized them.
You think of your school as a safe place.
It should be. School should be a safe place, and you're bringing in idiots like this to commentate games. Like what? I just don't know when he thought. Of course, again, I still speculate that him and his staff were saying it because why would you utter that word unless you're comfortable saying it?
Exactly.
You
It's
wouldn't.
all, it's in your head. It's in your vocabulary.
It's already there. So what's in your heart is coming out of your mouth. Period.
Yep.
It's just like oh goodness, we gotta change the subject because he's making me mad.
Okay.
And I'm just like, are you serious? Um, well, I'll tell you what I did want to talk about though. The vaccine. Have you gotten the vaccine yet?
No. And
Okay.
I mean, I should. I'm 72.
Yeah.
I have 4 autoimmune disorders. I have 4 comorbidities. I'm rural, and rural is kind of forgotten. There's been a few, you know, the Department of Health has sent emails, and the vaccine is so limited for us that the twice I've tried to sign up, and twice they've run out of vaccine. Now
Oh,
I'm isolating and staying isolated and keeping myself safe. But I want a shot. I want a vaccine.
yeah, and I went back and forth on it, back and forth. I was like, well, should I get it or should I not? And I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna lean more towards the side of getting it. Just because of course I have that lovely disease called diabetes, and I'm like, oh, you know what? That doesn't help anything. And so of course my age range is keeping me out now, but I think um the president said that we should all be able to take it by May.
Mm.
May the I don't remember the date he gave.
I think the end of May.
I thought it was May 1st for some reason.
Was it? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know it was May. We can both agree it was the month of May.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, like, what are they doing to get it to the rural areas? Because I live in a fairly large city. I mean, they had it where you could go on the racetrack and just go into the where the Indianapolis 500 is ran, and you could just go in there, get it, and then go around the track, which people like to do for some reason. But I didn't even think about people in the rural area because
Yeah.
I live in a city. I'm like, oh well.
Because, I'm probably 10, 12 miles from town. So the big cities are getting the bulk of it, then the bigger towns, then the smaller towns. So we're kind of on the tail end. And they've said that they're having a problem getting it to the rural communities.
Yeah, and wasn't there some money in the Rescue Act? I keep
Yeah.
calling it that addressed that issue.
Yeah, supposedly. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Because I keep wondering. I'm like, okay, because if we're not maskless, um, yeah, I think they said July the 4th. I'm like, that's a little soon, don't you think?
Yeah. Well,
But
I rarely leave home, and when I do, I wear the mask and I socially distance. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, everybody out there has the plague. And with the New York still has a mask mandate. So luckily, the few times I do go into town, people are wearing masks. All the stores have a mask mandate. You can't go in unless you're wearing a mask. And surprisingly, for such a rural area, and this is a solid red area, people are wearing masks.
Well, I think it's finally gotten real to some people, except for Mississippi, Alabama, Texas,
Florida.
Florida. I'm like, you really lifted mask mandates? Really? Okay. In your theory, it's like they, it's like they like to rebel. It's like they just say, okay, this that virus is taking people out, so we'll do. Just don't wear like
No,
so,
their number one priority is to own the libs. They own the
exactly.
libs by not wearing a mask.
On the libs and put yourself in danger and make yourself. It's like you're putting yourself in danger when you don't have these things taken up. But I just want us as progressives to get more of us in office. We really, really, really need it. And so, Mickey, I know it's short notice, but um, it's that time for us to cut this program short. And we'll see you and hopefully the whole panel next week. Everybody, thank you for joining into the Progressive Queens. We, of course, again invite you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and remember to support us on Patreon. Have a great day, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye bye.